just nice to see him back in the top 6, right where he belongs.
Well, top 4 last year, and of course, second place finish last month in our first golden ticket event. Has a silver ticket already locked up to go to the last chance qualifier. So not exactly playing with house money today, but playing with a little bit more room. You know, he already does have at least a solid set in the points and that
chance to go to the LCQ. So when you look at him versus you look at Lucas,
let's talk about consistency. A guy who was known initially as just kind of a hog player in, you know, if you go back to kind of 2019 era, and then had a breakout year in 2020 in Clash Royale League, and then has since then been a consistent face at the top echelons of gameplay. How do you view the way that these two guys match up today?
Yeah, it's so tough. It is so much closer than the community prediction. I mean, 81%.
Queen, Earthquake, and then some Lava Hound. So curious to see if we get a similar fast cycle versus medium heavy situation today out of Lucas and Sub.
Yeah, Lucas is one of those players where if you don't have your coach in your ear and you don't have the ability to workshop decks with them, make sure that you're countering everything, he's just one of the scariest players in the world. He is so smart, so talented, and he's just played so many games that it feels like he's always ready to do one thing different than every other player. He's not going to go crazy off meta, but he will choose one different card that's going to flip a matchup that it shouldn't flip. And that's definitely one of the specialties of Lucas. And Lucas, running E-Giant. This is pretty interesting.
This is kind of the opposite, I was thinking, right? We have Sub going fast cycle with the Hog, and Lucas turning heavy. So both guys, especially Lucas, trying to subvert expectations. And speaking of expectations, everybody, on the left-hand side of your screen, rewards, watch them, and unlock special stuff. We're about halfway to our first reward drop of the day. So make sure you stick around to catch that one. And we'll have those throughout this Sun Championship Sunday for the Kalalas Cup here in CRL.
Sub trying to figure out his next move. Going to cycle the Firecracker in the back. Lucas, he should have the Evo Cage in cycle. So when we take a look at the matchup, the E-Giant probably should have the NATO as well. This is interesting. Okay, is it NATO Lightning? Is that what we're thinking coming in from Lucas right here?
Only time will tell as we get into our double elixir, and Brawler might get one, and does. 27-15 on the right-hand side. Lucas narrowing the gap as he has the 2-lane damage Hog into the left-hand side, Cage to cover. And that should, with the King Tower's help, yeah, it wasn't a perfect placement on the Cage, but activated King Tower cleans up the damage.
And right there, Sub doing a beautiful job of protecting his Firecracker. The Hog will not make it to the Crown Tower because it is going to activate the King with the NATO coming in from Lucas. But I mean, Sub's defense on that Firecracker, and then it's still plugging and chugging away. That was absolute perfection from him. And a well-deserved shot on top of the tower.
And that's now the most significant damage of the round. 25-52 plus an old chip on the Golden Knight. Bar Barrel target the Firecracker. Hog goes left-hand lane for Sub as he plays defense on the right-hand side. Page Evo to pick up and handle the Hog Rider. And the NATO pulls everything into the E-Giant, but not going to be enough to create a breakthrough. And Josh, now NATO out of cycle, no Cage. Hog going to get some big time shots here. What does Lucas need to
أعتقد لوكاس هو يفوز لأن لوكاس أقوى واحد. بالبطولة من
Yeah,
علي محمود لايف محمد
the
لايف
hands-on
بعدين
of sub,
لوكاس
it just feels like
وما أدري بعد
he's
لما
not
تشوفوا
really
البطولة
finding
شو
it
يصير.
difficult.
Even when you see these easy wins, they're still making all sorts of plays. Sub, he's just kind of doing the same thing, and that's all that needs to happen. Lucas, I believe he just needs to kind of wait for triple elixir or wait for a mistake. And right there, the E-Giant making it to tower, getting it down to 21-19, almost evening it up. But now no NATO in cycle. This could be a pretty big push coming in right here.
EQ gonna help with that cage. Hog gonna get 2 shots here, down to 10:45. So just as
Lucas sees some
لوكاس
light at the
بلع
end of the
دمج
tunnel. The rocks start to fall from the walls.
ما
With
مدمج
triple
علينا
elixir
برجنا
against the
مدمج
fire
عليه.
cycle. Yeah, Lucas just really struggling, trying to figure out how in the world he can just
صار عليه هجوم قوي.
anything.
حلو
So
حلو.
far, not coming to any sort of conclusion. We're gonna see a NATO in, but these firecrackers are still just
ما
staying
يصح
alive. This
حرام.
is way too easy for them. Go Infernos in the back.
جي جي طار
Trying to
البروج.
hold. You get the
حلو
hog
دافع والله.
1-2-3-1 remaining, and now Lucas is trying to find some way to sell out of the bridge. Golden Knight gets some connections. 11
أعتقد
seconds.
سوب هو
No way
الفاز.
to break
لوكاس
through.
خسر.
Q will just make sure
Yep.
the gap is enough. Log to clear, and Sub gonna take game number
يعني كانت
1
الأولوية
as the
لوكاس
script is
بس خلاص.
flipped from last year's World
هي
Finals. Sub
البطولات.
going fast cycle. Lucas, the one cutting caught flat-footed with the beatdown deck.
Yeah, both players absolutely locked in. No celebration on either of their faces. They know how close they are in talent. Right there, I think we can just chalk it up to just a very poor matchup. Sub is way too talented with Hog to allow Lucas to do anything. And Lucas, on the other hand, while it was a bad matchup, I would have liked to see the NATOs be a little bit stronger. It was like 2, 3, maybe even 4 times where he NATO'd everything in, but when you're NATOing the firecrackers, they're still going to shoot their way outside of the range. I would have liked to see something different, even if it's just cycling lightnings. There needed to be something different.
Well, unable to make anything different happen. And, you know, we were looking at the defense there, and you were talking about the NATO. The problem in this matchup, it felt like for Lucas, was he had 2 good alternatives for defending against the Hogs with the cage and the NATO. But with no ability to break through, he had to use the NATO offensively, and then that left him, as we saw, with a whole lot of openings for Sub to just go, well, you used it, and now you just have a cage, and I have an earthquake and a bunch more stuff to come and run downhill on you. And as you mentioned, of course, the Firecracker is able to pretty much camp on Sub's side of the board and turn it into a party rather than a solo job. Now we go into game number 2, and you know, of course, Sub has the game advantage right now, Josh, but thinking about what was played so far, it does in many ways feel like Sub now has the card advantage going forward too, right? On his side, yes, he used Log, but has plenty of fine other options. Earthquake, you're not really concerned about using that elsewhere. Whereas Lucas, some kind of critical defensive pieces in particular, the NATO gone, and it feels like it's going to be a bit harder for Lucas to get the read on Sub, whereas Sub might be able to get a better read on what to do in game 2 and beyond.
Yeah, that's why Hog EQ is just so strong in the dual format, because so many of the cards, I mean, the Log, yes, the E-Spirit maybe, but you're not using those cards in a lot of your decks. And if you are, you can easily find some sort of variation. We saw the guards get used in the drill deck from our previous set, but you can just swap it from gobs like we saw in Sandbox. So yeah, Sub 1-0 and just has everything available to him. And there we go. We might see the Drill Goblins variation that Sandbox used. We will be seeing this shortly.
Berserker comes out to get the cleanup. First little chip damage in both directions. 27-32 to 29-98. Goblinstein out here for Lucas.
Fire Spirit getting the jump on top of the tower and the Doctor. And right here, Goblin Demolisher not able to make it all the way. Sub using a classic drill. Lucas having some fun with it and using using the Galmenstein drill. I don't really see this deck all that often. I've seen a few of them with the Goblin Hut, so I wouldn't be shocked if we see that. We'll still have to wait on the last two cards.
Things slowing down a bit after the opening salvos, although now Lucas maybe heard me and decided to go full send. You're going to get a little bit out of that one as some of the goblins get on tower, and a little bit turns into a lot. Lucas opens up the lead by over 500.
Goblin Hut on defense, going to be able to take out the Demolisher and chip away at the Knight. Still going to need one or two more cards coming in from Lucas. And the Bomber, will it be enough? It's going to take it out, but the Knight is going to be able to get one shot.
Galmenstein out one more time for Lucas. And that, Josh, kind of just felt like I would like you to play some cards, please, with Lucas.
Yeah, just trying to get a cycle right, trying to get the Evos in. And right here, I mean, the Berserker, as great a card as it is. Oh, and right there, very nice interaction. The Evo Snowball with the Evo Bomber. Gorgeous gameplay from Lucas.
What a connection. What an absolute connection, right? For a moment there, I was looking at the Evo Snowball at the bridge and going, why is he sending all the troops right back to his drill? And Lucas just showing off some of the brilliance and thought process and turning that into a massive connection, and suddenly this game is completely turned upside down.
Yeah, that was absolutely the play of the day so far. I've never, I mean, I've seen that interaction, I'm sure, somewhere, but to be able to pull it off at the live stage, at the big stage, that was incredible.